I can start. So the webinar is, for those who know already, is a webinar series on different national cases regarding radioactive waste management and transparency and public participation. So the general framework is basically to consider the application of transparency and public participation in the development of national radioactive management programs with several national case studies based on the Aarhus Convention pillars, so access to information, access to public participation, and access to justice. With, in addition, the fourth pillar brought by the BEPPER report of NTW from 2015. On this pillar is focusing on access to resources. And the series therefore is trying to assess and through an overview on the good and bad examples on radioactive waste management, and also trying to allow exchanges among civil society members and broader, of course. Then we have this program already. Two webinar took place after the introduction, one on the Swedish case, one on Danish case, and today we will have a focus on the French case. All, including the introduction, all those cases are available on our YouTube channel. You can find on the Nuclear Transparency Watch on YouTube. And so the next one will be on the Greenland in May, in 1 month, and then check case and so on until December. And finally, Nuclear Transparency Watch is encouraging and supporting citizens to seek national legal remedy when it's needed, to communicate violation to the European Commission and the Aarhus Convention Committee, Compliance Committee, and focusing on a 3 specific topics regarding radioactive waste management, public participation, long-term governance, and intergenerational issues. So if you have a question now, but especially afterwards, after the presentation, you may raise your hand using the banner below, or you can also prepare some question in the chat. For Benoît, who will take the floor after I give a short presentation. Benoît is the director, if I'm not wrong, of the CLIS of Bure, so where the laboratory of the French laboratory for the GDR, Geological Disposal Repository, is. And the CLIS is a local committee of information, independent local committee of information of citizen. And Benoît will tell us more about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Malcolm. Hello, everyone. Well, the CLIS with an S, because it's not only information, it's also a follow-up of the project in Bure, ANDRA's project. ANDRA is the National Agency for Radioactive Waste Management in France. So I'm going to give you an overview of the French case, which began in 1991 with the first law in France about the nuclear activities, and it was on the radioactive waste management, long life waste. And this is very important because the law, there has been a very dense debate before its adoption at the Parliament, and what was said in the law is very important for us. Quickly, it provides, for example, 15 years of research on 3 axes: separation and transmutation first, geological disposal, the second one, and then conditioning and long-term surface storage, the third axe. And it creates also the National Agency for Radioactive Waste Management, ANDRA, as a public and independent agency from the waste producers, let's say. It also creates a national commission for assessment of the research, and that's what is important for us here. It provides for preliminary research an underground laboratory. Underground laboratories, sorry, with an S, like for the CLIS. And then around the laboratory or the laboratories was also planned the creation of a CLIS. And also of how to say that, a financial organism to manage with the accompanying funds. We will see that later. And so the law gives a rendezvous in 2006 to assess the researches and to say in the three axes. I want you to remember that, and then to tell if there is one good solution or if research have to go on, or maybe we have to stop everything. No, but it's a very, very interesting law, I think. And this is the first one because the process in France is very long, like I think in every country. So after this first law, we will have two another laws in 2006. It was planned by the first law, and in 2016. And between all those laws, three public debates, three public inquiries, consultations, everything. It's very, very impressive in France, you know. At the end of the 90s, the site of Bure was selected among other sites which were candidates for the laboratory, only for the laboratory. And the CLIS was created in 1999. And before this authorization given to ANDRA to operate the laboratory, we have had a public inquiry, the first in this process, for the authorization to operate the laboratory. But it was a very, very dense file with many documents, many pages to read. So, of course, the procedure does exist, but we don't know if really many people are able to manage with such process. I don't know, but with such documents, very technical, very complex. So, well, that's the first public inquiry. In 2005, we had the public debate. It was a national one. It was, in fact, on the national management of the radioactive waste and materials also. Very interesting. A lot of participants and a lot of discussion, of debates, but we will see that after a lot also of disappointment for the people who participated to the debate. So after this debate, the second law in 2006, well, it's a new step in the process, but it doesn't authorize ANDRA to build the geological disposal. The law says geological disposal is the solution in France for management of the high level and intermediate level long life wastes. And if this disposal is authorized, it's only in a site where there is an underground laboratory. So, because there is only one laboratory in France, it was almost clear for everybody. But the decision was not taken. The law gives more time for the research. And we will see that we are still more or less in the research. In 2007, a new second public inquiry, but not really important. But in 2013, the second public debate took place, focused on the project this time. Well, it was a failure, I think, because a lot of people who had participated to the first debate and who were disappointed by the results of the debate decided to boycott this new debate. And in fact, it's more or less all the associations against the project. So when you have no contradictors, it's difficult to have a debate, in fact. So it happened, but with few interest, in fact. But after that, the parliament adopted the third law on the radioactive waste management, and more specifically on the project of geological disposal. What is new in this law is that it plans a new phase in the whole process, which is called the industrial pilot phase, which should happen between the authorization given to Andra to build the disposal and the effective, or I don't know, I'm not sure, beginning of the operation in the disposal. That's something we should also have in mind. This law is followed by a third national public debate on the national program for management of radioactive waste and materials. Well, it was a good one with dense discussions and also good decision taken by the government and by the Nuclear Safety Authority, because it decided the decision taken after this debate decides to create a pluralistic instance, a national pluralistic instance, more or less like with a composition close to the composition of the CLIS, with many actors and actors with different points of view about the project. And well, after that, I think the government and Nuclear Safety Authority are more involved in the process, because before that we had the impression that Andra was in fact deciding everything. But after the 2019, and we hope that that will be the case in the future, the government is now leading the process. In 2021, in fact, a third public inquiry took place. Well, it was on declaration of public utility asked by ANDRA. Each time with such public inquiry, the public is not at the rendezvous. We can see that they are not really participating because, as I said, you have documents, many pages, thousands of pages. So, well, it's very difficult for the public to participate. But we have had also consultation of the local authorities, local elected authorities like municipalities and departments. And so this time we have had the more negative advices than before. It's well, quite surprising, but we will see what happens in the future. Well, today we have a new phase that is beginning with the deposit by ANDRA of the construction license application at the beginning of this year, in January, and a phase of review by the Nuclear Safety Authority, assisted by the IRSN. Everybody knows IRSN, I think. And we will be associated to this review phase by the IRSN, and it should last at least 3 years. It's a technical review, I have to precise. At least 3 years, and after that we will have another public inquiry, a consultation of National Commission for Assessment of Collectivity, local authorities, and also the environmental authority. Well, this is the story of this process. Now let's see how if we reach the objectives of access to information, to participation, to justice, to resources, things like that. For information, it has been made easier over the last 25 years because of the attitude of the Nuclear Safety Authority, the opening up of the IRSN, and also, maybe to a lesser extent, but it's we can see that a new attitude of ANDRA. And as an example, the last time a document was refused to the CLIS, it was the list of ANDRA's land acquisition in both departments of Meuse and Haute-Marne, linked with the project, of course. And it was several years ago, I should say, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Since then, we have each year information on this point by ANDRA. And I don't have another example of documents refused by ANDRA since. In fact, if you are looking on internet, yes, internet, on the web, you can find a lot of documents, technical information or general information, but provided by ANDRA, by Nuclear Safety Authority, IRSN, CNE, National Commission for Assessment, by the CLIS, by every actor in the process. But it's too dense and too complex for the public. And for example, the construction license application file contains more than 10,000 pages. And the more important document is, let's say, 4,500, no, how to say that, 4,500, Malcolm.
4,500.
Yes, that's it. Pages, and very, very tough and hard to read for the public. Well, for information, let's say that's okay. For participation, it looks like everything is correct in France. Public debates, public inquiries, consultations, and things like that. But for example, about the public debate in 2013, it was pointed that the participation was biased, serving as a public caution in a narrowing process with one goal, finding a place for a geological disposal, while the discussion was broader on radioactive waste management at the beginning. It was in 2013. And it's Malcolm who found those words. Some people said it was a fake debate. Some participants said that. And the president of the National Commission for Public Debate in France said that this debate has illustrated the loss of trust among the population regarding those in charge. That's very important. And well, it's not often that the president of such a commission said things like that. The access to justice, okay, it does exist. People can refer to a court against, I don't know, a decision of the prefect in the department, against a decree. Okay, this is possible. But it's not always easy, and you have an example in the paper. The Court of Human Rights said that some environmental associations were not able to bring an action before the domestic courts where I don't know how to say that, but Malcolm, maybe you could help me.
Translate what?
Well, you know, the European Court of Human Rights condemned France for disproportionately restricting access to justice for one association, a local association, but said that 5 others were not allowed, were not enabled to have access. It's not important. We will see that later if there are questions on this subject. I don't want to spend too much time on this aspect. About resources, the CLIS has got good financial resources. It's about 300,000 euros per year, provided by half by the state, by the government, and half by the waste producers, EDF, Orano, and CEA, and not CIA. Sorry. That's very good for us because it allows us to ask to non-institutional experts and things like that. Another point that is also important is that both departments of Meuse and Haute-Marne receive funds given by the government. It's based on taxes, on nuclear taxes, and each year it's about 30,000 No, what I say, 30 million euros per year per department. No comment, but but it's important because the departments are not really interested in technical discussions. Okay, it's only for economic development. But for us, having some funds is important. As I said, to ask some questions to non-institutional experts, and also to develop subjects or topics that are not in Andra's agenda. And for example, the CLIS has many questions about the geothermal potential in the region of Bure, and also develop process to have health reference reports of the population, of the local population around Bure, and of course if the project goes on with the follow-up over time of the health of the population. So those are good points. Bad points, negative aspects in the decision-making process in France, of course. There are many. For example, as I said, the first law in 1991 was very promising, but its implementation very disappointing. In fact, there were no 3 axes, but only one. It was the geological disposal. At the end, there is only one laboratory. The law said laboratories with an S. Well, and the site selection process was also criticized by some association and elected people. Well, the adoption of the 2 other laws in 2006 and 2016 did not how to say that n'ont pas Malcolm n'ont pas reposé sur des débats très denses.
Did not lie on a very intense debate.
Okay, thank you. And what adopted? Oui.
And with not so much participation?
Yes, that's it. It was adopted with almost empty
rooms. Okay.
Both in National Assembly and the Senate. Well, it's like that. And about public inquiry, of course, this is something where the people is able to express and to give its opinion, but the opinion of the people or of the local authorities that are also consulted is only consultative, and the conclusion are often positive for the project in our case. So to conclude, yes, I think it's time. I should underline 4 points which we could call good practice, good practices maybe. The first one is about the fact that it's important to avoid any refusal to communicate documents. It creates distrust, and at the end, the documents will be communicated more often. It's important to have a clear legal framework that can evolve. It's possible, but it must evolve in consultation with other actors. That's the respect of the legal framework and of the possibility of evolution is very important to enhance transparency. The public participation and access to to information require funds, I think, financial means, and that's important. And more important, they must be guaranteed on the long term, in the long term. And then last point, the participation must be useful and acknowledged. That's to say, a decision taken after consultation must indicate how it has taken into account the consultation on the discussion, and if not, why it has not taken into account in whole or in part. Well, and I think also a good point is to have a permanent working groups like the CLIS in France at the local level, or like the Commission Orientation for the PNG MDR, sorry, at the national one. I think with all the actors and all the point of view on the project. Thank you. And if you have questions, of course, I'm here to try to answer.
Thank you very much, Benoît. I don't know if there are questions already, but yeah, Gabi, I see that you are opening your video. Maybe you have a question already.
Yes, I have a question on the criteria for site selection, how they were set in France. Has there been any participation when discussing which criteria should be used?
Well, first of all, remember that the site selection was for the laboratory, and that's important because the law planned for at least 2 laboratories. So in fact, the department in France were the good candidate for the government, and a department who decided to be candidate was not sure to be the site for the waste disposal, and that's important. But the criteria, well, you have geological criteria, that's right. In fact, Andra had a map of France with different host rocks and well, properties of those rocks and everything like that. And then they need also a political decision of the department. The department had to say, I am candidate for the implementation of a laboratory. And there is another criteria, but it's not said. I think so. It's the low density of the population. Or another one, the fact that the site had already nuclear activities. For example, I think that in France, if the government decided to choose a lag for the waste geological disposal at the moment in 1991, I think that people had said, okay, but in fact the geology is not good in lag. But well, I think you have all the criteria: geological one, political one, department candidate, and density, and then also, if possible, nuclear activities on the side. It's not the case in Meuse and Haute-Marne. No activity, no nuclear activity before any, if decided.
Thanks a lot. If you have any question, you can also write in the chat. Maybe Benoît, you can say a bit more about the situation now and after the last decade, because you describe a situation where some disappointments occurred in the public participation. which led to less participation lately. So how is the situation now from the civil society side for the coming public participation?
Well, not easy to say that. I think that for the yes, the opponents association or the association of opponents, well, they are still in the same opinion that participate is not good for them. And they have they can argue they don't want to help Andra to to be authorized to for the waste disposal, and they don't want to spend time in discussions when they are sure that their opinion will not be taken into account, or that they will be presented as a caution for how to say that, ensuring that the participation was and the consultation were effective. But well, this is it's not the case for everyone. Andra is planning some consultation on the project implementation, local implementation. So the CLIS doesn't participate to such consultation, but they have some local people, not in the CLIS, not in association, are going to the meetings organized by Andra because they want to know what will happen if the project is authorized. So there is always, I think, people that are willing to have information. Well, to participate, I'm not sure. To have information, yes, okay. To participate, it's really complicated, I think, because it's a very technical and complex project. It takes time to have a certain knowledge about the topics, and a lot of people, I think so, think that everything is already decided. In fact, there is a form of fatalism. Yeah. So why do they have to participate if everything is already decided?
And is Andra trying to overcome this, or because you're saying that they are moving in the good direction regarding at least the information shared, and more generally there are two topics with long-term governance and intergenerational issues. Also how this is foreseen
by different
Andra and the CLI and
the CLIS.
The CLIS.
Well. Andra, of course, says that the project is in phase with how to say that the future generation needs. It's an argument about in favor of the project. It's to say we are managing with the waste that we have created, and it's to our generation to manage with that, and we do not have to leave such a
burden to the next generation. Yeah,
to the next generation. Okay, that's the position argument. Well, I think that while people are aware of the problem of long-term governance, but it's difficult to project because the decision-making process is very long, and the operation of the disposal would be very long if authorized. And for anyone, in fact, it's difficult to see even 50 years in the future
ahead. Yeah.
So everyone saying, okay, we are the generation who I don't know has to deal with that, and what is important is to let the more information to the next one. But we see at the CLIS and also in our initiative with the IRSN and CLIS, the National Association of the Local Committees and Commissions in France, it's very difficult to involve young generation. Well, I have to add that in Meuse and Haute-Marne, young generation, no more. It's a very old population. You know. Well, I don't know if my answer to your question, but
yeah, it does. It does answer. Okay, thank you very much for this this perspective. I see a question here as well. How have the popular protests in the field, riots, camps over the years in Bure possibly impacted the attitude of the authorities towards transparency and implementation of the DGF, effective transparency itself regarding the DGF plans and preparation, and progress of the DGF implementation projects as such? So what's the effect on the authorities of the protests, local protests on the authorities, the transparency, the process itself, and the project also the process and of dialogue and the process itself, the project itself.
Well, first, protest. Of course, there are protests, local protests. It's linked with the important moment in the process, in fact. But in 2000, I'm not sure, 16, I think. There has been very important and sometimes violent protests in Bure or around Bure, and some of the manifestants, comment on dit manifestants?
Strikers.
Oui, grévistes.
No, strikers is grévistes. Yeah, demonstrators.
Demonstrators, okay. Some of the
protesters. People... Protesters is even a writer.
Okay. Ah oui, protesters. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Some protesters occupied a wood where Andra plans to have the disposal, in fact, geological disposal. And then in 2017, the government decided to really answer with many gendarmes. I don't know in English.
Forces and of police forces.
Well, yes, policemen and things like that, and to free the wood. I don't know if it's correct. And then since this moment, policemen are very numerous in the area of Bure. They are every day driving in the area, looking for what happened in the villages, and well, it's really surprising. And many controls.
Control.
So for the people, even for the people living there. Well, it's not very pleasant. But well, we can say that, and it's not only for Bure, I think it's for the other environmental protests. There is like a repression, a tough repression of the protests today in France. And then what else? The other part of the question.
So how it does influence the authority? So I guess the government, but you said you described the atmosphere. I think there is also the process itself. So I think, does it stop it? Does it make it
No.
evolve? Does it
No.
what's its influence on the process itself and on the stakeholders?
Well, in fact, the process is going on, but sometimes it's very slowly, sometimes no, not quickly, but sometimes very slowly. Sometimes it stopped for a moment, but it's still going on, I think. Well, influence is coming from protests, of course, but also from the actors like the CLIS or even IRSN. For today, I can't tell you if the project will be authorized. A lot of people think it will be, but we are not sure. In fact, there is no obligation that the project will be authorized. We will see that in the future, not today, not tomorrow, but maybe in 5 or 6 years. So there is only one site today in France for the management of the high level and intermediate level waste. So we can't imagine that the government decide, okay, we stop it. It's not good for the moment. The influence is well. I don't find the good word, but
The influence is limited, maybe.
Yeah, it's limited. It allows to take more time for the decision, and maybe for the decision to be better. We don't know. We will see.
Niels, I see you are raising your hand.
Yes, thank you for this very interesting presentation. Well, I have a question. Your citizen group in Bure, have you over the years collaborated with green NGOs within or outside of France? I know that until recently, a big German citizen group, which was very influential, was in the same situation as you are now in Bure, namely Bürgerinitiative Umweltschutz Lückau-Dannenberg, which was one of the major forces between the opposition against the projected final disposal for high-level radioactive waste in Gorleben. Have you collaborated with groups like that within or outside of France?
Well, in the CLIS itself, we have, in fact, local associations against the project. And we have no national association like Greenpeace, Global Chance, but we are working with them in a national frame in a new commission that was created after the public debate in 2019. The Commission Orientation, sorry, in French, which is composed with the CLIS, ANCLI, of course IRSN, waste producers, ANDRA, and also all the national associations that are against the project. So Negawatt, if you know, Yves Marignac, I don't know, Greenpeace, Global Chance with Bernard Laponche, and France Nature Environnement, well, FNE. So we are working with them in this frame, and of course we could ask them to come and to give us their opinion on a precise topic for a meeting of the CLIS, for example. That has already been the case. They are not directly participating to our activities, but we can invite them for a public meeting. Is that what you expected?
Niels, is that fine? Does it answer your
Yes, thank
question?
you. Thank you for the answer.
Welcome.
We have still a bit of time left if some have a question. I thought at least Yves Marineck was not against the GDR itself, at least.
It's not, you're right, it's not so easy.
But let's say there are some challenging organizations.
That's it.
Okay.
No, he's against in fact the surface repository. But maybe he's against also the geological disposal if it's not correctly done.
Yeah, I suppose, but not in itself, I thought.
No, that's right.
But, so okay, other organizations are associated to this national reflection. I think we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, for example, for the construction license application, there are new procedures that are implemented, and for example, the Nuclear Safety Authority organized a consultation of the NGOs, the CLIS, CLI, and IRSN also, but not ANRA, to associate them, in fact, Nuclear Safety Authority want to know what are the expectations of those actors before they send, how to say that, a letter, une saisine. Je sais pas comment on dit ça.
Saisine.
Oh, laisse tomber.
Request?
A request, yes, that's it. For IRSN, IRSN will do the technical review for the Nuclear Safety Authority. And so the Nuclear Safety Authority asked us to tell what are our expectations, and then to write the letter taking into account what we said. That's very interesting, and it's very new and very original in France on nuclear subject.
So very interesting. There are some the good practices and the procedures are evolving still, and
we will see the results.
Yeah, of course. And the result, even if some think it's already decided, the result is not yet.
No. But
the result of the collaboration, you mean?
That's it.
Yeah, of course. But even the result itself, we don't know, even if some. Okay. Thank you very much, Benoît. If there are no other question, maybe Gabi, if I see your no. Okay. If there are no other question, we will stop the meeting here. Thank you very much again. So the next time we will meet, it's as said at the beginning, will be next month to continue the series. It will be in May, 11th of May, with Greenland at the same time, and Niels again. So yeah,
there is a comment.
Oh, I missed one.
But no, it's interesting because it's about the future of IRSN. But maybe it's not the place to discuss that.
No, of course, I answered, but definitely some more can be said. So please go on.
No, I don't. No, it's a very important point for us. IRSN has to be independent, and Well, it's yes, we are a little bit worried about what happened today. Well, the first vote at the National Assembly said the thing have to remain like that with both organisms, Nuclear Safety Authority, IRSN. So, okay, that's a good thing. But we don't know what will happen at the Senate. And the government seems to be very active to reintroduce in the text the fact that Nuclear Safety Authority and IRSN should be
Emerged. Yeah.
So we will
the answer will come in the coming weeks of May. I think it's early May. I heard, and also there were no, as far as the actors knew, there were no public assessment, impact assessment.
No.
So they are, I think, aiming to do one by the summer. To support this, but it was, so yeah, it's not done. And if it's acted and there is a merge with ISN and ISN, then I suppose ISN will take over the role of IRSN regarding Bure and radioactive waste management, I suppose, isn't it? It would not be CEA, is it?
What?
If because the project to merge IRSN with ISN is not only to merge IRSN with ISN, but also to merge it with CEA.
No, that's no more the case.
Oh, it's no more the case. Okay.
To share IRSN between expertise and research.
Okay.
To ISN and research to CEA, but it's no more the case.
Okay.
IRSN should remain only one institute, but in the field of the ISN.
Okay. All right, we'll see that then. Thank you very much for those precision and questions and participation of you all. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.